Just because you're quiet doesn't mean you can't also be powerful. Join award-winning authors, activists, and confirmed introverts Lisa Hurley and Sharon Hurley Hall as they explore introversion, workplace culture, self-care, and much more. Each episode of the Introvert Sisters Live, which is the evolution of their original Anthem Award-winning podcast, blends thoughtful conversation, insightful analysis, and practical strategies through an intersectional lens. Created especially for those quiet souls who are so often overlooked and underestimated, the Introvert Sisters Live provides a serene space where neurodivergence is normalized, nuance is celebrated, depth is welcome, and introversion is honored as a strength. Hello.
And welcome back to the Introvert Sisters Live podcast. I can't believe it, but we're at the penultimate episode of season 1. And it's a special day because this episode is airing on Juneteenth, Friday, June 19th, 2026 at 12 p.m. Eastern. And it's an important day, and what I want to ask you, sis, to just kick us off here is when you think about flourishing in an extroverted world, what do you want our listeners to feel first?
Well, first of all, welcome everyone, all of our listeners, all of our viewers. Thank you so much for joining us. And what I wish for everyone is to feel relaxed within themselves, within their bodies, within their minds, to feel relaxed, to feel uplifted, to feel like they're safe to be themselves and, live their best lives. And, I'm a fan of Juneteenth, right? Juneteenth is the day that I first launched The Great Exhale. It is a very special day to me. And, it's my personal day of relaxation, right? I tend to take it off officially or unofficially, but that's just
hope nobody's listening.
right, exactly. And so I just want everybody to feel happy and healthy, uplifted, relaxed, at home in their bodies and minds. What about you? What do you wish for everyone?
I really want people to feel, fulfilled, happy, and centered. And, Juneteenth actually is also an important celebration for me for Sharon's anti-racism newsletter. Even though I'm not American, even though I don't live in America, that is always the week that I bring out my top voices in anti-racism, which I started nearly 5 years ago because I didn't recognize some of the top voices that the platforms were highlighting, and there were other people that I was learning from. So I think it's a day to acknowledge those that you learn from. I think it's a day to take that rest, to feel whole and well in yourself. I think it's important.
Absolutely. Now, although I'm happy that here in the States, Juneteenth is now an official holiday, right? I'm not 100% a fan of everybody taking the day off because it's supposed to be for Black people, but this is not that podcast.
Well, it's kind of that podcast, but it's also not that podcast.
Right? How are you going to be the descendant of the people that, we were trying to get free from, and you taking the day off? But anyway, that's just me. But for us, people who look like us and people who are, descendants of those who were formerly enslaved, this is a very important day. And part of my reparations personally is to rest and relax and do less. And actually, that's what I believe.
I love to see it. See it.
And so that's why today we are talking about the Introvert Rules, like you said, 8 ways to flourish in an extroverted world. So sis, why don't you kick us off with right? So if flourishing starts with like honoring yourself instead of performing for others, because a lot of introverts, that's what we do. We perform extroversion and try to fit in
We
that way.
mask, you
We math.
know,
Yes.
we are not often our authentic selves because the world is so extrovert friendly
Yes.
and
Yes.
extrovert expecting, you
Yes.
know.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so, really, what we want to talk about is emotional wellness, peace, and humanity for introverted Black people, especially on this day, but always.
But always, but
Right?
always. So let's kick it off. So we have 8 rules, sis. So hit us with some of the rules. You go first. What are some of the rules? And tell us the rule, and then give us some thoughts about like what you think about the rule.
Solitude is fuel.
Rule number one.
I Rule number one. I believe this. I believe in my alone time. I guard my alone time. It is how I recharge as an introvert. As a Black introvert, I am not only recharging from extroverted expectations, sometimes I'm recharging from racism and microaggressions, right? There are
Okay.
lots of things that we need that recovery time for. And
Mm-hmm.
it's when we do our best thinking, and it's how we do our best relaxing. You
Mm-hmm.
know, just before we came on to do this episode, I spent some time reading and
Oh,
just quieting my mind,
yes.
which
Yes.
I think, how do you feel? First of all, how do you feel about rule number one, sis? And also, I think that also leads us very nicely into rule number two.
Yes, yes, it does. So rule number one, solitude is fuel. I absolutely, agree with that. I spend a lot of time by myself, and some of it is circumstantial, but most of it, honestly, is preference. Even if I am in a situation where there are a lot of people around, I'm going to find a way to spend time by myself because that is often when I feel most comfortable. Um, and something I like within our family is that, well, many of us are actually introverts. We're somewhere on that spectrum, more or less, of being introverted.
Yeah.
And so it is accepted within our family to spend time alone or spend time alone together. And
Yes.
it absolutely fills my cup. It regulates my system. It makes me feel at peace. And like you said, that leads nicely into rule number two, which is quiet is healing.
Yes.
Quiet is healing. Please, for the love of God, let there be less noise. Let there be less noise. Oh my goodness. The world feels very loud, right? There's so
Listen, doesn't it remind you of Let There Be Peace on Earth?
Let there be
Right?
peace on earth and let it
Let
begin
it
with
begin
you.
with me.
It's so amazing how I remember learning that I probably was under 5 years old, right?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Church
But it
songs.
resonated.
You did.
It resonated. It resonated and it still resonates.
Yes,
You know,
just let there be quiet. And actually what I've taken to doing is wearing what do you call them? Air plugs?
air defenders.
Yeah, air defenders,
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah. I use the loop ones, the loop earplugs, and just
Yeah.
pop them in there, and it just mutes, all of the ambient noise. For example, when I'm at work, right now there's a lot of construction going on within the building itself
Hmm.
on one of the floors. I honestly, I think I'm sitting right beneath the generator. I don't know what's going on, but it sounds like, I don't know, an old car that's trying to it's on its last legs or last wheels, I suppose, so
Yeah.
to speak. And it just sounds like it has consumption. And so imagine sitting beneath that sound and also like the vibration of the floor. It's very uncomfortable. And so, yeah, I pop in my earplugs. It immediately dampens that sound, makes it more quiet, and then I'm able to focus. And I do feel healed in that moment. Like I can feel me
Absolutely.
going from dysregulated gradually down to regulated as the noise lessens. What about you? How do you feel about quiet?
I love quiet, and I believe that that is one of those elements of what I call micro restoration,
Oh, I
right?
love that.
You take those little breaks and you just
Mhm.
bring things down to a level where you can cope with them, right?
Yeah.
Quiet is wonderful. There's
Yeah.
nothing, living in the Caribbean, as you will know, there's always somebody out there with a weed whacker or a power washer. And
Well, listen.
I understand that people need to keep their properties looking spick and span, but oh my goodness, there
But
is nothing to
whew,
jangle the nerves of a quiet introvert like
mhm.
having that going for hours on end
On a
and
Sunday morning at 7 o'clock
or six.
or 6, like why? Why? Yeah, we're trying to sleep.
I know. So yes, I totally agree. Quiet is healing. Quiet is necessary, especially if you're an introvert,
Yeah, for
right?
real, for real.
If you
Yeah.
are, if you're, for those who are tuning in, who are actually introverts, if you will know yourself that there will be those situations that you get into where there's so much ambient noise, so many things going on that you find it hard to focus
Hmm.
because we focus internally and we focus in quiet, and that is our sweet spot. So
Yes.
yes, quiet is healing, which brings me to rule number 3.
Right.
Boundaries are self-care. Oh
Yes.
my
Yes.
gosh.
We love
This was a
boundaries.
hard one to learn, but I have learned it well.
So why was it hard for you to learn? I'm curious.
When you're socialized as a woman, right? You are expected to give to others, to go along with others, to be adaptable. If you experience any trauma in your life, that might also be part of your defense and safety mechanism,
Right.
right? There are so many reasons why you don't set boundaries, why you people please,
Hmm.
not to put too fine a point on it. And so it's something that you actually have to unlearn.
Yeah.
People would say, "Can you just do this?" And you would feel obliged to do it. And if on the odd, occasion where you didn't do it, you would feel terribly guilty. And then you decide it was better to do the thing than to feel the guilt. When actually it's better to look after yourself and let
Yes.
the guilt go, right?
Yes.
So boundaries are definitely self-care. And the greatest day in my life was the day I started saying no to the things that didn't work for me.
Mm.
Now I can't stop.
Right, right, right. Was there I mean you said the day. I don't know if there was actually a day. Like was
There
there
was a day.
a trigger event?
I I don't know. I don't know if there was a trigger event. I was in my 30s, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, no, that is actually not. You've just reminded me. That's not the first time I set a boundary. I
Right.
did once when I was maybe in my early teens. I
Mm-hmm.
remember someone asking me to give me a lift home, even though I lived in the opposite direction and there were people going in their direction.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, after having done it many times before, I said, actually, that's not convenient tonight.
Yeah, yeah.
I felt
Ooh.
like such a hound.
How
But I
did they
got home.
react? I'm curious.
They were they were surprised. They were surprised. And I remember that, but then I don't remember setting a boundary again till I was in my 30s. It
Right,
took me another 10 plus years
right, right. In
to be
full
able
Beijing
to do
mode,
it.
in full Beijing mode, I'm gonna say I think I know who the body is, but I ain't gonna name the names. I
Yes.
will name no names.
So so how do you feel about boundaries, sis?
Oh, they're
How about you
absolutely
feel about
necessary.
rule number 3?
Rule number 3, boundaries or self-care. Absolutely. And you and I were, we were raised in the same household and in the same culture. And so we were socialized in a very similar way. And so, like you, I am a recovering people pleaser, still. And it is constant work. It's constant
Oh
work to
yes.
remember to enforce the boundary. Remember to take a pause before immediately saying yes or immediately agreeing to something that might not actually work for you. It takes, because it is not in my nature or, in however I was raised, like I don't have it in me. And so I have to practice it consciously, but I do practice it
Agreed.
consciously. And
Agreed.
it is not yet, it is not a perfect science, I'm a human being. I still make mistakes. There are times where I still say yes when I want to say no, but they're fewer, and every day it happens less and less frequently. And so
Yeah.
no is a full sentence, right?
And I
Is
want
it?
to highlight something you said, sis, which is
Yes.
the power of the pause. Power
Yes.
of the pause. I talk about this all the time in the work I do in
Mm-hmm.
Unsilenced and some of the other work that I do. I said, pause. Give yourself space to think,
Mm-hmm.
which gives you the space to make a decision based on what's best for you,
Yes.
rather than having a knee-jerk reaction to people please. And I
Yeah.
agree with you. It is still constant work. It still takes work. Less
Oh,
work than it did 10 years ago or 5 years ago,
yeah. Yeah.
but I am learning more. The thing that I am learning is to pause, is to give myself that space.
Yes.
And if I give myself the space, then that actually stops me from defaulting to that learned behavior. I don't know how
Absolutely.
it is for you.
No, same, same. I give myself, I do practice the power of the pause. I give myself time to think. There are even times where I might have agreed to do something. I did this recently, and the person is not really speaking to me anymore, but that's okay. Where I had agreed to do something. There's more nuance to the situation, but for the purposes of this discussion, I had agreed to do something, and realized that it was not something I wanted to do or something that was in my best interest, et cetera, et cetera. And I reached, out to them again and said, actually, after some additional thought, I am not going to do this. I won't be able to do
Mhm.
this anymore. And that was it. And
Yes, the
here I am.
reaction of people when you set boundaries is very telling, isn't it?
It is, it is. And again, there's always nuance. So uh, sometimes people are going to react with, anger or disappointment or whatever. I think it also depends on what the history of the relationship has been. If
Yes.
so, for me, if I have been consistently disappointed by someone or let down or had the rug pulled out from under me multiple times,
Hmm.
um, and I think I'm within my rights to say no,
Yeah.
and be a little bit, upset, honestly, at having been treated that way, and just
Yes.
decide, okay, well, my boundary is I'm not dealing with you anymore. And some people might regard that as being angry or whatever, but I regard it as no. I have clocked what's happening now, and so I'm choosing to take care of myself. Right? There's
Enforce rule
always
number 3.
right.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
That's
Yes.
it. That's it. And self-care. Boundaries are self-care. So what about rule number 4, sis? Tell the people.
Rest, regulation, and recovery time are required. And if
Mm-hmm.
you're there thinking, we've talked about solitude, we've talked about quiet, and we've talked about rest, yes, it is important enough to have 3 different rules.
Yeah,
Right? It
absolutely.
is. It
Absolutely.
is. It is. Because you also have to think about how are you recovering from the times. Now, I am a great believer in that, introverts have great strengths and we can do anything we set our minds to.
Mm-hmm.
But in order to look after ourselves, we have to enforce rule number 4, right?
Yes. Yeah.
We have to space out our social engagements,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or our virtual engagements for that matter.
Absolutely.
If you have ever sat through a couple of back-to-back multi-hour Zoom calls, you will know what I mean, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that is every bit as draining
Oh my
as
God.
spending your time at a noisy networking event for a day,
Yeah.
right?
Weirdly enough, in some ways, I actually find it more draining. In some ways, because you're trapped. You're trapped on the Zoom call. It's one where you have to show up, participate, have your cameras on, which is fine, right?
Mhm.
There's some circumstances in which that is the best way to do a Zoom call, but you have to be
Mhm.
there, you have to be locked in, and it actually, I think there have been studies about this. It takes more brain processing power, especially since you're not in person. And so you're missing a lot of body language cues and nonverbal
Yes.
cues that you might otherwise pick up in a live
Yeah.
in-person situation. Also, in
Yeah.
a live in-person situation, yes, being in a loud, crowded room is horrible, but you can always escape to the ladies' room or find a quiet corner. If you're on Zoom, you
Absolutely.
can.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so,
You know.
like you, after whether it is a Zoom or an in-person situation, we always say this. We tell people, look, Sharon and I love each other. We are sisters, right? We're best friends. We're all the things. And we always remind people, as much as we love each other, after this recording, we are both going to swoon on our respective fainting couches and right and get some rest. That is what is going to happen, because
Absolutely.
it is just part of who we are, and it's part of our natural makeup, right? It is
Absolutely.
nothing
Absolutely.
personal. If an introvert needs a break from you or from a party or a situation or whatever, it is not personal. It is literally how we get back to self. And for more information about that, go back to our episode. I don't want to use the wrong episode number, but it's called The Regulated Introvert, right?
Yes.
Go back to that episode and watch and listen to about what we say about being regulated and how important it is to self-regulate as an introvert.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So we've been talking about, rules 1 to 4, you could think of as pretty foundational rules for us as
Mhm,
introverts.
mhm.
But let us talk more now about some of the other things, the deeper issues,
Yes, yes.
preventing burnout, high
Mhm.
visibility environments, and so on. You know, Many of us are moving through those spaces trying to stay whole, whether they're online or in real life. What are the next rules that protect peace without us having to shrink ourselves?
Whew,
Sis, you want to take the first one?
I sure do. I sure do. So, rule number 5. And this is the number 5 of 8 ways to flourish in an extroverted world, right? So, rule number 5 is no small talk. And just please. So, I can't speak for all introverts, but I can speak for myself. I can speak for Sharon. I can speak for many introverts. We don't like small talk. Small talk is actually exhausting. It is one of the things that, back to rule number 4, that dysregulates us and makes us need rest. We like deep, meaningful conversations. Those are
Absolutely.
energizing. Those get our brains and minds fully engaged. They fill us with energy. They fill us with joy. Whereas small talk feels like, you're being just stuck with 1,000 needles all at the same time. It's horrible. What about you?
Absolutely.
How do you feel about small talk, sis?
Can we just not?
Can we just not?
No,
Let's
can
not
we
do it.
just not? Can we just not? Deep conversations are our sweet spot.
Yes,
And,
yes.
and for all of those who think, of introverts as people that are cowering in a corner, unable to face the world,
Hmm.
please listen to one of our earlier episodes, which distinguishes between introversion, shyness, and social anxiety.
Yes, I think
For
that was
those of
episode
us that
1. Hmm.
Yes, for those of us that are not shy or socially anxious, we like limited engagement with people, but we want that conversation to be meaningful. We want it to be
Yes.
deep. We
Yeah.
want it to feel really fully engaged.
Hmm.
Okay. We
Yeah.
actually don't want to talk about, generally speaking, the weather or the latest gossip. We're not interested. We're
In
not
general,
interested
for
in
sure.
general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, let there be nuance. Okay. So
Mhm.
because of how you and I were raised, right, sis?
Yeah.
If I enter a room or I'm at a party, whatever, of course I'm going to, hello, how are you? How is the
Yes,
family? How are the kids?
of course.
Etc. Etc. How is that health issue you are dealing with?
Yeah.
Those are important touch points.
The
What
social niceties.
the social niceties matter, and they're important. All we're saying is let that not be it. Let there be more.
Let
Let
that not
there
be
be
the entire night's conversation.
exactly. Let's talk about the meaning of life. And if you feel safe, yes, absolutely. Let's talk about politics, or let's talk about religion, or um,
Yeah.
it's something. Let's talk about that
History, culture.
history, culture, the arts, your
Yeah.
latest project that you're working on and what it means to you. And let's talk about
Yes.
meaningful things,
Yes. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, love it.
So, rule number 6. And those of you who have been long-time listeners will recognize this phrase from the first iteration of the Introvert Sisters. Rule number 6 is introverts unite separately.
Yeah.
And we actually we put this in as a catchphrase basically because we happen to be recording in two different places. And
Mhm.
even now, as we're going live, we do that in two different places.
Yes.
And it was a way of, how do we come together while still being in separate spaces?
Hmm.
But, introverts unite separately can cover things like what Lisa was talking about earlier, where, your three introverts are sitting in a room reading their book, enjoying sharing space together, while also having their own little bubble of what they're focusing on.
Yeah.
You look up for a minute, you exchange a word, everybody goes back to their book. Nobody is bothered, everybody is happy. You're there in the shared energy. What does
Mhm.
rule number 6 mean to you, sis?
Uh, it means it actually speaks to, again, for me, to authenticity, because it means that I am not necessarily being forced to interact in a way that I don't feel comfortable doing so. So you and I we do a lot of Zoom calls, video calls on WhatsApp and so on. There are a lot of my friends that I do that with as well. My bestie Annie, she lives in Atlanta. We do a lot of calling, a lot of
Actually,
texting, all of that, and we're going to get to the texting
we're
later.
going to get to the text thing.
We're going to get to the
But
texting.
actually, you've reminded me actually, because yes, I have a couple of friends like that. I have friends living in Europe,
Yeah.
who are also introverts.
Yeah.
And, sometimes we'll just send a little text message,
Mhm.
share a little picture,
Yes.
occasionally we'll call. But as
Yeah.
you said, we'll get to that in a little while.
Yeah. But the thing is like, so I do believe that friendships, any kind of relationship, needs work. You do need to pour into each other and the relationship. But the pouring has to work. The method of pouring has to work for both people. So we're not saying not to, the introverts don't want to see anybody ever. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is that we don't feel the need to be in person up under each other all the time.
All the time.
And that we take measures, we put the work in to build a relationship across the miles. That's what we do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely.
Mhm.
So, speaking of not being in the same space, let's turn to rule number 7. Exit plans are essential. Now,
Oh,
we have talked about this many times before, right?
yeah.
Introverts, know thyself, right? Right? Know thyself. If you know that you're going to get exhausted, overwhelmed, dysregulated, and then start to feel angry and headachy because of it, make sure you have an exit plan going in. Go into those social occasions and say you can't stay long. Arrive slightly late, leave slightly early, you
Mm-hmm.
know, know where the bathroom is so that you can
Always,
escape.
always.
Always, always, always know where the quiet spaces are. Find the back door so if the weather is nice, you can go and stand outside for 5 minutes. You
Mm-hmm.
know, have an exit plan. You can have a temporary exit plan if you plan to stay at the, longer at the particular gathering, or you can have a more permanent exit plan, right?
Right.
Now, this
Yeah.
is assuming you haven't set a boundary and said, no, you're not coming at all.
So that is the
That
ultimate.
also is an
That is the ultimate exit plan. No, I'm not coming. That's a pre-exit.
no, yes, no, I can't make it. No, I have done too many things this week. I am already overwhelmed. I would
Yeah.
not be good company. Believe me,
Yeah.
you're better off.
Yeah. I
Right?
have, we both said that. We both said that.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
again, I want to emphasize, we've also said it to each other. I
Yes,
really want to keep repeating that because you and I are as close as two people can be. And
yes.
there's so much love there.
Actually, I have an example because isn't it just the other day we were going to have a call and
Yes.
then I called, you weren't available, you called back, I wasn't available. You said, is it a good time to talk now? And I said, look, maybe we can talk tomorrow because I only just got back home. And
Yeah.
so we understand that about each other and there's no shame, there's no shade. That is just
There's
how we
no
roll.
judgment. There's no judgment. So
Which brings us
I,
nicely
yes,
to one
yes.
of our favorite ever rules, and it is say it with
Text,
me, text,
don't
don't
call.
call.
Text, don't call.
Take it away, sis. Take it away.
So listen, that's it. Just text me.
Yeah.
There's a song online. We have to find it and drop it in the show notes. I think I sent it to you sometime, right?
Yes.
Influencer who sang a song called "Text Me," and that's all we're saying. We don't have the energy. We
The
don't have
bandwidth.
the energy for. Maybe we can do one call. Maybe we can do two. We can't do 10. We can't do 20. We
Yeah.
can't do. Frequently do long multi-hour talks, right?
And it's not personal. It's
It's
not
not
personal.
personal. It's
If
just
you happen to be the third or fourth person to want to call, I'm gonna
yes,
have to tell you no.
yeah. I'm not picking up the phone actually, and I might
Yes.
actually want to talk. I might actually want to talk to you, but I also know that I don't have the capacity. And you know what? Just text me. Text me. I can right use the thumbs.
Yes.
Text you back, and it's done. And it
I
doesn't
have.
take as much energy. I just
Yeah.
please. And don't
My,
also don't call and don't call and not tell me what, or if you, let's say if you're leaving a voicemail, do not call and say, "Hey girl, call me back."
no. Tell me what
No,
you want to speak about.
tell me.
You
Again,
know,
there's
tell
nuance. There's
me.
nuance, right? Can you do that? Yes, because you're my sister.
Yes.
We've known each other
Yeah.
for decades. You can, but not a random person. Tell me what is the purpose of this call? I need to know this.
And for my beloved extroverted people out there, this is behavior that you can learn. I have friends who I've known for decades who will now text me and say, "Is this a good time to call?" And just the act of asking the question makes it a better time to call.
Yes.
Right? You would be surprised how much difference it makes to be asked rather
Mhm.
than have the assumption made that you are available.
Yeah. Yeah.
It makes a
Absolutely.
difference.
Absolutely.
It makes a difference.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that is one of our favorite rules ever in all of time, right? Text don't call. If we have to choose, we will have a long text conversation, text chat
Yeah, yeah,
versus a verbal conversation. Now, again, let there be
yeah,
nuance. I
yeah,
happen to be best friends with what I would call a slightly introverted extrovert. Annie is
yeah,
much more extroverted than I am, but she
yeah,
also likes her alone time, right?
yeah.
Um, and of the two of us, I'm the texter, she's the caller. So
Hmm.
we sort of like meet somewhere in the middle. There are times where I'm like, well, okay, you haven't called Annie in a long time.
Yeah,
Call her this time instead of texting.
yeah,
On her
yeah,
end, Annie is thinking, wow, I've been calling Lisa a lot. Next time I'll just send her a text. So we work it
yeah.
out and we compromise and meet in the middle, right?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. All right, sis. So those are our 8 rules, right?
Mhm,
Our
mhm.
8 rules. Rule 1, solitude is fuel. Rule 2, quiet is healing. Rule 3, boundaries are self-care. Rule 4, rest, regulation, and recovery time are required. Carry on with Rule 5.
Okay, then rule 5, no small talk. Rule 6, introverts unite separately. Rule 7, exit plans are essential. And rule 8, text, don't call. And because we're givers and we're generous people, we have two bonus rules for you. So sis, take it away with rule number 9.
Rule number 9 is success can be silent.
Tell
Let
me
there be
more.
less noise. Let
Yes.
there be less noise.
Always.
Let there be less, posturing. Let
Yes.
there be less yapping. Let there be less. Did I say yapping? I didn't say yapping. I didn't say yapping. Right? People don't need to know everything that you do. You don't need to go on at length about it. Some of the most meaningful things are done quietly without fanfare, which
Mm-hmm.
again plays to our introverted strengths. So
Yes.
please, please, please don't feel that everything has to be loud and out there.
Mm-hmm.
It does not, and we
Yes.
do not.
Yes.
Right? We do
And
not have to come. We do not have to conform to extroverted norms of what success looks like. We can do it our way.
we can do it our way. And um, fanfare is sometimes necessary, but there's
Mhm.
also joy in sometimes just knowing for yourself that you have done what you meant to do. Whether
Yes,
anybody else sees it, agrees with it, congratulates you on it, that's something that you have to also develop, that intrinsic self-love and self-pride,
yeah,
so that
absolutely.
whether anybody claps for you or not, you're clapping for yourself, right? Whether if you clap for yourself and nobody hears it, is it still applause? Yes, it is. Right?
Yes, yes,
Success,
yes, yes.
success can be silent. And so, sis, what is rule number 10?
Rule number 10 is less is more. Less is more. Less
Uh-huh.
noise, less stimuli, fewer people, smaller friend groups, no crowds. I
Yes.
always say to people that, my friend group, my most intimate friend group is actually very small. It's a handful of people, literally, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not that I don't know other people that I also consider friends. Not that I don't, I have followers. I have a wider network that I connect with. People that are the friends to whom I tell everything. That
Yes,
is
yes,
a tiny, tiny group. That is a
yes.
tiny, tiny group, right? And it is okay to not be constantly surrounded by people. If you're an
Mm,
introvert, it is actually better for you.
yes, yes.
Less is more. And what
Less
does
is
that rule mean to you before we head to the end?
before we wrap up. Yeah, less is more. I fully stand by this. Um, you don't need all the people, all the stimuli, all the stuff. And I'm recovering from that. But you just don't need it. And again, the less is more approach allows you to operate in your authenticity as an introvert. So you don't need, like Sharon was saying, you don't need to have quote unquote 20 best friends. It's
No,
okay to have 3 to 5 friends and be happy, right? Quality over quantity. That allows you to build better, deeper, stronger relationships with a few people as opposed to superficial relationships with a wide group. So we're
absolutely.
thinking depth over breadth, and that is very, very important to me. Again, as we said earlier, that's even how we approach conversations, right? Depth over
Yeah.
breadth. Okay, so thank you for rolling with us today. We are well over time, but listen, we get a little chatty. We get a little chatty.
Yeah,
But
we get excited.
before we wrap up, so we're in our last segment, quiet minds, loud opinions. So sis, what is something that you have a loud opinion about when it comes to introversion and introverts flourishing and all of the stuff that we've been talking about?
My loud opinion is that we don't have to do it like anyone else,
Hmm.
right? We introverts are not broken extroverts.
Oh yeah.
Introverts are whole people with
Hmm.
our own strengths, and we can do things our way. That is my loud, brief, but loud opinion.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Absolutely. Ditto.
All right.
I can't even add to it. I can't even add to it. So, and I agree with your loud opinion. And part of what we've been discussing today is really actually about quieting one's mind, right? Quieting your mind, quieting the stimuli, quieting the conversation, and just making sure that you're centered enough to flourish. And that's really what this whole episode has been about, right? Quieting yourself enough to be authentic. Flourishing looks like, as an introvert, looks like making those aligned choices to be quiet, to be centered, and to be authentic instead of like performing extroversion. All right, sis, we're there. We're almost there. So what is your closing reflection for today?
My closing reflection, my closing thought is flourishing does not have to be a personality makeover. It is real-time self-respect. If you need solitude, boundaries, and intentional rest, treat that as wisdom coming from your body, from your mind, from your being, and let that lead. What about you? Sis, take us out. Take us to the finish line with your closing reflection.
Thanks, sis. So mine is that caring for yourself is not selfish, and honoring your introversion is an act of self-love that will allow you to truly and consistently flourish. Ease and quiet and silence and peace are valid goals, even in a world that rewards loudness and chaos and overperformance. So just care for yourself and follow these introvert rules in order to live your best, quietest, happiest, most introverted life. And with that, folks, we are out. And
thank you for tuning in.
Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next time. Take care and goodbye.
Bye.